I used to think ghost stories were just stories, something people made up to explain weird noises and bad memories. But after what happened during my last night shift at Blackwood High School, I don't laugh at those stories anymore, because at 2:17 a.m. I watched someone walk down a hallway that should have been completely empty, and what terrified me wasn't who I saw. It was the fact that the person had been dead for 23 years. Back in 2022, I worked as a night security guard at Blackwood High, a public school in northern Ohio. The job was simple: lock doors, check security cameras, walk the hallways every hour. Most nights were boring. The school would be silent except for the humming of vending machines and the occasional creak from old pipes. Nothing unusual ever happened, at least not until my final week. It started on a Tuesday night around 1 a.m. I was sitting in the security office watching camera feeds. That's when I noticed movement on the third floor. A figure had appeared at the far end of hallway C. At first, I assumed it was a student who had somehow gotten inside. The image wasn't clear enough to identify them. I grabbed my flashlight and headed upstairs. The hallway was empty, no student, no footprints, no open doors, nothing. I checked every classroom, every bathroom, every storage closet. The entire floor was deserted. When I returned to the security office, I reviewed the footage. The figure was gone, but something caught my attention. The person hadn't walked normally. The video showed them moving slowly, almost gliding, like their feet never touched the floor. The next night it happened again. Same hallway, same time, 2:17. This time, I didn't leave the office. I watched the monitor. The figure appeared from around a corner and slowly moved toward the camera. As it got closer, the image became clearer. My stomach dropped. The person looked like a teenage girl, long dark hair, old-fashioned clothes, and pale skin that almost looked gray. Then the camera suddenly filled with static. When the image returned, she was gone. I immediately checked every camera in the building. Nothing. No sign of anyone. It was as if she had vanished. The following morning, I mentioned it to one of the janitors, an older guy named Frank. The moment I described the girl, he stopped sweeping. His face turned white. Then he asked me a question.
Did she have a blue dress?
I nodded. Frank stared at the floor for several seconds. Then he told me something I wish I had never heard. Back in 1999, a student named Emily Carter disappeared inside the school. She never came home, despite massive searches. Nobody ever found her, not a single clue. The case eventually went cold. The weird part, according to old yearbook photos, Emily had been wearing a blue dress on the day she vanished, exactly like the girl on the camera. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Part of me wanted to quit, but another part wanted answers. At 2:10 a.m., I went to hallway C and waited. The hallway was empty, silent, still. Then, at exactly 2:17, I heard footsteps, slow, soft. Coming from around the corner, a girl stepped into view. The same girl from the cameras. The same blue dress, the same pale face. She wasn't transparent. She looked completely real. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then she turned and began walking away. Without thinking, I followed her. She led me to an abandoned storage room at the end of the hallway. A room that had been locked for years. The girl stopped outside the door. Then she slowly pointed toward it and disappeared. gone. Just like that, my heart was pounding. I called the principal and explained everything. Surprisingly, he agreed to investigate. The next day, maintenance workers opened the room. Behind several old shelves, they discovered a section of wall that had been covered decades earlier during renovations. When the wall was removed, everyone in the room fell silent because hidden behind it were human remains. The remains were later identified as Emily Carter. After 23 years, she had finally been found. The official investigation concluded that Emily had accidentally become trapped during construction work and was never discovered. The story made local headlines for weeks, but what happened afterward is what still keeps me awake. After Emily's remains were recovered, the sightings stopped. No more strange figures, no more static, no more footsteps at 2:17 a.m. It's as if she got what she wanted. As if she had spent 23 years trying to tell someone where she was. And finally, someone listened. I quit my job a month later, but sometimes, late at night, I still think about that hallway, and I wonder how many other forgotten people are still waiting for someone to find them. If you saw someone who had been dead for 23 years, would you follow them into the darkness? Let me know in the comments.